Alright guys, I'm back to my busy schedule with my kids and working 45 hours a week for the next 4 days. So if you want to get really alerts, the only way I'm going to post, or the only reason I'm going to post, is really to give you, alerts, something important. It's not going to be like, other YouTubers where they just upload a daily video for no reason and it gives you no information. So we actually are going to go over something that you really need to pay attention to. Sub to the channel. I do have a Discord in the description of the video. Also, leave me a like. It helps me out a ton. So let's actually go over something that you really need to pay attention to for this upcoming week, or probably tomorrow. So the last video I posted, I talked about Bitcoin and how, it moves with the market and stuff like that. Now, I've been talking about this for, I think I posted it last Friday, I think last Friday, when we were hitting this top, when we were making a lower low in the SP500, the NASDAQ, the QQQs, and the three biggest stocks right now pushing in the Mega 7, which is AVGO, Google, and Apple. We actually would have dropped harder today and actually held and probably broke into the lower ends of this 50 and the 100 moving average. But Apple decided to make one last dip push as everyone else was rejecting. AVGO dropped around almost 4.9, it dropped 4.19%. Google dropped 1.6%, and then Apple rallied for 1.5, which that is a lot in the Mega 7. That's around $5. So, but what I'm getting at is really important. What you need to pay attention to is when AVGO, which they already are, I'm going to go over the charts in a second, are already starting to reject, you will start seeing the decline and also breaking this channel in all the indexes. We are making lower highs. We are breaking this 2023 bull rally channel that Biden had. Or actually, no, we're not breaking it. Sorry, it's been a long day at work, so bear with me. I've been up since 5:30. And it is 8 o'clock at night. So yeah, I run 14, 15-hour days when I have my kids, and I still do YouTube videos on the side just to help you, which I really shouldn't, honestly. I should just keep this all to myself, but I don't. I think it's actually really awesome to help people. But you need to pay attention, because this push right here, I am going to delete this so you can kind of see a little bit better. So as you can see, we made an incredible push from 400 in the triple Qs to around 640. SP500, we went from 4,700 up to around almost 7,000 in the SP500 nonstop. Now, what I do want to point out is we did break this channel. This channel that we've been doing, we broke it. We've been making lower highs, but one thing I do want to point out, which every single index is doing, which no other YouTuber is talking about for some reason. A lot of other YouTubers are saying we're going to drop, yeah, but no one is really breaking it down. So let me break it down for you. So as you can see, this channel right here is broken. What you need to pay attention to is the trend has changed. I'll show you the trend change in a second. But what I really talk about, and it's a good lesson right now actually, because you don't really get this very often. Usually when bull channels break, they really have a really tendency to break the channel and come right back up and hit the old support as a resistance, and then you'll see another decline. Sometimes it'd be really hard, sometimes it'd be a lower high. You really don't know. So that's where the moving averages come into play. So be very careful. I'm going to show you the moving average in every single index and every single Mega 7 that you should be buying, not financial advice, sorry. Yeah, long day. But if you're buying puts, this is where you should end. So let's actually go over this really quick. And if you're a new viewer, I'm going to go over this too. So in a bull trend, if you don't understand moving averages aren't just supports and resistances. They can actually tell you who's winning in the market and who is having control. Now, the biggest thing is a lot of people act too soon, but I'm going to show you this. So on the 10 moving average, when it is above the 20 moving average, that means the bulls are in control. When the 10 moving average, which is white line, is below the 20 moving average, that means the bears are in control. Now, the one biggest thing that I see a lot of people do is, oh my gosh, we're going into a cross. I'm going to buy calls. You need to wait for a verification. Now, sometimes it can intertwine. Sometimes it can intertwine just like this on a bear. So just because it looks like it's coming into a close doesn't mean we're going higher. How can you verify that, right? Well, AVGO and Google made an incredible push, and they're starting to reject, which I'm going to show you in a second. But what I'm talking about is if we actually do reject off of this old support, where are we most likely going to land? So on every single Mega 7 and all the indexes, if you don't understand, every Mega 7 stock, literally, all of these stocks are literally in every single index. and within the top 5 or 10. If you don't understand, go to Google, type in what is the equal weight of your stocks, right? They will turn market cap into percentages of what it can, how much weight. Like NVDA is around almost 10% of the whole entire market pretty much. AMD is really small. It's only 1.5, but these stack really, really quick. So if we actually do start to reject off of this top of the channel, I'm going to show you where you should be buying puts if you do, not financial advice, educational purposes only. But let's just go into the lower end of a lower high, because you kind of want to play it safe, right? You never want to say we're going straight down to the 200 moving average. We will. I guarantee you we will. But just play your moving averages. But one thing I do tend to do is if I see a cluster of moving averages, always ask yourself this. What is the chances of us blowing through all those moving averages? Pretty high, because they're all clustered together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the 100 moving average. So if we do reject, make a higher high, even though we're making lower highs right up here, but let's just aim for the 100 moving average. So look for around 6,630 on the SP500. On the NAS 100, look around around 24,300. On the NAS, the regular NAS, look around 24,400 right there on the 100 moving average. Like I said, if these indexes push their 100 moving average, most likely all your stocks are going to push the 100 moving average or lower. Now, the 3 different ones are going to be the top 3 are pushing. I'll go over that in a second. On the triple Qs, right? If we start to reject from this old support, which is coming as a resistance, you're most likely going to see around 590 this week, or maybe early next week. You never know. It really just depends on if these stocks are going to reject, which they already are. Just throwing that out there. On the Dow 100, or Dow Jones, sorry, I am tired. Bear with me. If we blow past these moving averages, pay attention around 46,000 on SPY. There was a comment about a weekly high on one of my videos. Okay, either way, just remember, guys, SPY is only like the top 6 index. So if everyone else is dropping, it's probably going to go down to its 1 moving average, around 654. And then also, let's actually look at the 3 biggest stocks that are pushing the market. That's where you got that really late push. I think it's the survival of the fittest, honestly. I think a lot of these companies, some companies don't like a high stock price. Some companies try to keep a high stock price because they want to make their stock, people happy in certain ways. The rich like buying cheap stocks. The poor people like to, get fed really expensive stocks. So if AVGO does reject, you need to pay attention. I've been calling this out last week. If this rejects, starts pushing to its 100 average, you're most likely going to see around 366 this week. So, and then also on Google, we're making it right there also. I've been calling this out for a minute. Where is Google? Either way, this is Google. Sorry, I can't find the name. You are going to look around 305. It can push down to around 294 this week, so pay attention to that. On Apple, this is where you got that late push in the afternoon on Monday. I don't know if I'm going to upload this on Tuesday morning or tonight. I might just do it tonight, whatever. But Apple, this is what really wiped out the red today. Apple made that really big push, and that's a lot of the Mega 7, like percentage-wise, the triple Qs, just from like right here to here, that's around $5-7 on triple Qs, because look how big it is in the indexes. It's pretty big. Now, if those 2 other stocks in Apple start to reject, you're probably going to find a lot of support around 272. There is a chance for 264. Now, on the back end, right, if these stocks start to reject down, it's going to be a different story for these other stocks. So let's look at Meta, right? Meta's already blown past its moving averages, a lot of them up here. So if the other 3 start to reject, you're probably going to look at support around 612 to around 615. And then also on Amazon, Amazon is in a high rejection zone also. Amazon does have a lot of support around 227. And there is a chance for 214, but I would probably play around 226-ish. On NVDA, I'm going to point this out about NVDA. If all of those 3 stocks, those Apple, AVGO, Google, start to reject, I'm going to show you this. There is no supports under this until 153. So this could be the bang of the buck that really pushes us this week. If those 3 stocks start to push, you're going to see a drop to around 153 really quick. Let's see. I think I accidentally skipped over Tesla. I did. Tesla is in a high rejection zone also. You can see this, how it's just sitting right below that 50-moving average. If this starts to reject, I definitely could see this blow past the 100 or the 10-moving average. I would definitely pay attention around the 100 moving average around 386. And then AMD is in a high rejection zone. You remember when at the beginning of the video where I was talking about how if the 10 gets under the 20 moving average, this is what a bull trend looks like, where it finds support on the 10 moving average. In a bear trend, it rejects most likely at the 10 moving average. It is at the 10 moving average. There could be a rejection down to 195, or you could see 151. Maybe not this week on 151. On Microsoft, you can see right here how the 10 is below the 20 moving average. The bears are in control, guys, right now. So if you're a bull, you're playing against the trend. Just saying. I don't trade against the trend. I just go with it. But that's on you. You can listen to your Ron and Ricky all you want. But either way, if this starts to reject off that 10 moving average, we'll most likely do that. You will probably see around a 466 on that. One thing I do want to point out is crude oil. Crude oil is, sorry, let me get out of this Discord. But on crude oil, there is a chance of it actually catching traction. It is above the 10 moving average. If the 10 starts to push up, which most likely will, you could start seeing this pump up to 60 or around 62. If you want to go see what that is on your oil stocks, go look at their moving averages. If you think oil is going to go to 62, which is not hard, I'm going to tell you right now, go look at its 100 moving average on that stock. That's most likely what it's going to hit. Let's see, crude oil, or Bitcoin. Now this is what a bear trend looks like. When everyone's like buy the dip, they're just catching a falling knife. That's who, is paying the price right now. Now you can see how the 10 moving average is below the 20 moving average. Now this is what I was talking about. It looks like it's coming in across. Now really new traders are going to be like, oh, this is my chance. It's going to cross really soon, skyrocket. Wait for the verification. I'm telling you, because this can go lower. Just because it's making a higher high doesn't mean it's in a bullish stance. It could just be waiting for the triple Qs. If you don't know what I mean by that, because I know there's still new viewers and my YouTube is blowing up right now, so there's a lot of new subscribers. If you don't understand, here we go. Here's the triple Qs. Here's Bitcoin. Bitcoin follows the stock market. I know, mind blown, right? No other YouTuber is going to tell you this. Now, there is one thing I do want to point out is there is a lot of Mega 7 breaking their 2023 bull channel. Bitcoin is breaking its 2023 bull channel. You can see it right here. Now, what I was just talking about at the beginning of the movie, man, I am tired. At the beginning of the video, it likes to push up to the, top of the old support as resistance and comes right back down. Maybe that can happen. Maybe not. It's really going to come down to the moving averages. I think it's like a 20% chance. I don't think it's going to, but just pointing that out there. If you are trapped at this top, and if you see 107, 103 on Bitcoin, you might want to rethink your entry. Just saying on that. Let's see. Did the VIX pop today? It did pop up around 5%. Also, if you were trading the VIX, the 10 and the 20 moving average is really good to use on it. I'm going to tell you that right now. I used to trade the VIX a lot. If you are trading the VIX, I'm going to show you this. If you are trading the VIX and you don't know when to sell, right? I'm not saying hold to a high number because that's very obvious. But one thing I do want to point out is right here. If the VIX is pumping really hard and breaks that 10 moving average because it's in a bullish trend, if that VIX breaks that 10 moving average and drops to the 20, it's probably not going to go back up past that 10 moving average. It's really rare. You can see it happening a lot in these really big pumps. I mean, I can go back farther. You can see it right here too, right? So when it breaks that 10 moving average, it tends to sell off really quick. So if you are thinking about doing like calls or anything to VIX, not financial advice, there is something that I've learned over the years that I think you should probably check out. 35% in puts and calls. Let me check that out really quick for you. We're about average. So yeah, I'm not really worried about that. Let's see. Is there anything else that you should know about? I think that's pretty much it. So sub to the channel, leave me a like. That helps me out a ton. If you are struggling with anything, just come in the Discord. I have a lot of people in there that, we're just like a big happy family. Later.